Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
COVID-19 has been relentless on the elderly, and we've seen their vulnerability more so than ever before in the country's long-term care facilities and nursing homes. Locally, 2 facilities are in the grips of the pandemic right now. COVID-19 specialist Amanda Decker breaks down the numbers and what can be done to slow the impact on these facilities.
26% of all COVID-19 related deaths in the country have happened at long-term care facilities. That's a trend we've seen repeated here locally, although there's not necessarily anyone at fault. COVID-19 attacks weakened immune system, putting the elderly at an unfair advantage from the beginning before the virus ever enters the facility they're living in. In New York alone, we've had more than 6,900 long-term care facility deaths, representing 26% of the COVID deaths in the state. 2 local facilities are currently dealing with outbreaks. At least half of the residents at Elkhorn Nursing Center in Horseheads have tested positive in the past few days. There are now 132 active cases among residents and 20 confirmed staff cases. But these are the first reported COVID-19 cases inside Elkhorn. This facility stayed virus-free for 8 straight months. Meanwhile, Absolute Care, Three Rivers and Painted Post has had a tough time battling COVID a couple times during this pandemic, including the dozens of cases it's dealing with right now among residents and staff there. There have been more than 50 positive resident cases at Absolute Care Three Rivers and more than 24 staff cases in recent weeks. At least 9 residents have died. Now, think of it this way. Less than 1% of the U.S. population lives in long-term care facilities, but these facilities make up 39% of all COVID-19 related deaths in the country. There have been more than 729,000 cases in long-term care facilities from coast to coast, with more than 100,000 deaths. So the number one thing we can do right now is avoid visiting loved ones in these long-term care facilities. That is, if that specific place is allowing visitors right now. Try to find a way to set up a digital platform to communicate with them, at least until that COVID-19 vaccine starts to be distributed and we know that it is working. Reporting for Big Fox News, I'm COVID-19 specialist Amanda Decker.
Tonight, we are getting reaction to the Supreme Court ruling that barred restrictions on religious services meant to curb the spread of COVID-19. Big Fox News' Matt Kleindon spoke to a Cornell University law professor to gain insight about this big decision.
In a 5-4 decision, the Supreme Court sided with the Catholic Diocese of Brooklyn and a Jewish congregation over COVID restrictions implemented by Governor Cuomo. While those 2 groups won the case, some court commentators say the ruling won't make a splash due to the restrictions being lifted by the time the case had reached the high court.
In some sense, the decision had no effect at all for the parties who actually brought the challenge.
Nelson Tebel of Cornell says, however, the case could also have an impact across the country.
Governments all over are struggling with COVID and with implementing regulations to try to control the spread of COVID in ways that are sensitive to religious freedom, but also a host of other concerns.
He states the ruling can be used broadly in other situations, especially whether or not state or local governments have to accommodate for religious services. Tebel also added the importance of the case with the addition of Justice Amy Coney Barrett.
So this is an important moment in the court, not just with respect to voting blocks, but also with respect to the way the values of religious freedom.
Reporting from Corning, Matt Kleindon, Big Fox, WYDC.
New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio announcing plans to reopen schools that were shut down recently due to rising cases of COVID-19. But the schools will reopen in phases, with the current focus being on elementary and special education students. Mike Sachs has the latest.
New York City public schools will be reopening in phases starting on Monday, December 7th.
Mayor Bill de Blasio and Schools Chancellor Richard Carranza laying out their new plan, focused for now on getting elementary and preschool students back in their classrooms up to 5 days a week where possible, with special education programs resuming in person on December 10th.
We will have testing that is going to go from monthly in every school to weekly in every school. We will have consent forms required for attendance.
The new plan is welcome news for Susie Gould, who has a daughter in 3rd grade at PS 290 on the Upper East Side.
So I do think it is the right answer for the greater good. I just wish that there was a little bit more preparation for the going back and forth. But at the end of the day, I'm hopeful that it'll just create more resilient kids.
But Chalkbeat New York reporter Rima Amin says critics remain worried the plan's focus on the youngest students may leave others behind.
We've seen some folks saying, well, why don't we instead focus on 5-day in-person instruction for the most vulnerable students, meaning students in temporary housing, English language learners.
Still, Governor Cuomo, on a phone briefing, said the mayor made the, quote, right decision.
It's literally safer for a child and a teacher to be in the school than in the community.
In a statement posted to Twitter, United Federation of Teachers President Michael Mulgrew said, quote, while schools in the city's high-impact red and orange coronavirus zones will continue to abide by the state's 3% closing rules, we are supportive of a phased reopening of schools in other neighborhoods, as long as stringent testing is in place. This strategy, properly implemented, will allow us to offer safe in-person instruction to the maximum number of students until we beat the pandemic. And de Blasio said to get it right, parents must get those testing consent forms in ASAP.
We need this to happen to keep everyone safe.
Thanksgiving 2020 is over, but there could be a dangerous ripple effect. Health officials fear that holiday travel and gatherings over the past few days could further fuel a surge of COVID-19 cases and deaths. John Lawrence reports.
The millions of Americans who traveled over Thanksgiving may want to get COVID-19 tests.
We might see a surge superimposed upon that surge that we're already in. And when I give that message, I don't want to frighten people, except to say it is not too late at all for us to do something about this.
The White House Coronavirus Task Force says actions that could help include mask mandates.
In states that did those, or mayors or counties that did that, we can see a really significant difference.
Local lockdowns could also be possible.
I'm talking about individual locations of people starting to see significant stresses on the hospital and healthcare delivery system.
Hospitalizations in the U.S. topped 93,000 Sunday, breaking a record set the day before, according to the COVID Tracking Project.
There is no way that the hospitals can be fully prepared for what we're currently facing. This is like a natural disaster occurring in all 50 states at the same time.
There have been around 267,000 COVID-19 related fatalities confirmed in the U.S. since the pandemic started. Health experts say that number could rise exponentially through December and the start of the new year.
We may be looking at 3,000-4,000 deaths per day as the surges on the ICUs mount.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Corning residents will now have a new place to get locally sourced meat. Tomorrow, Butcher's Son is opening on Market Street after months of preparation. It'll be the first butcher shop to open up on Market Street in several decades. Owner Cameron Matthews says the store will get its meat from farms throughout the southern tier and will operate in a more sustainable manner compared to other butchers.
In most places a lot of stuff's going to waste nowadays, going straight to grind, and we're just trying to change that and get people eating good food the right way.
Some of the farms supplying the store include Tiffany Farms in Tioga and Fieldstone Acres in Campbell. Arizona has officially certified the 2020 general election vote for President-elect Joe Biden. Arizona Secretary of State Katie Hobbs certified the results today, thus awarding the state's 11 electoral votes to Biden. As required by state law, the Arizona governor and attorney general, along with the Arizona Supreme Court Chief Justice, all witnessed the certification. Hobbs said the election process was the most secure in recent history, quote, despite unfounded claims to the contrary. The governor echoed Hobbs's comments and praised the integrity of Arizona's election system. With just a little more than 7 weeks before the Biden administration is set to begin, the huge task of building up a government is in full swing. And tonight, we're learning the names of some of the key people that the president-elect is asking to shepherd the country and the economy through the coronavirus crisis. Mike Emanuel has more from Washington.
Construction of the inauguration stage at the Capitol is well underway, a sign the machinery of government still hammers on. President-elect Joe Biden is set to be sworn in on that stage about 50 days from now, naming a committee to organize the big day. But President Trump, in a tweet Monday morning, still not conceding anything, writing, "I'm not fighting for me, I'm fighting for the 74 million people, not including the many Trump ballots that were tossed, a record for a sitting president who voted for me." The president-elect's construction of his new administration is also well underway. On Monday, Biden named former Fed Chair Janet Yellen as his Treasury nominee and longtime Democratic strategist Neera Tanden as budget director. Whether they ultimately get the jobs, though, could depend on the U.S. Senate.
If Republicans win the Senate, they are under Mitch McConnell, all of Joe Biden's Senate-confirmed nominees will have a much tougher time getting through them.
Cabinet picks are crucial, of course, but time is tight and there are many more jobs to fill.
They need to begin to identify which people are going to go to which department.
With COVID cases surging around the country, President-elect Biden has said another relief package is a top priority should Congress fail to pass one before the holidays.
We have a president-elect who has said, you cannot wait until I am sworn in. You must act. You must do something in December.
On Monday, President-elect Biden is also expected to receive his first presidential daily briefing, the top secret assessment of threats currently facing the country. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
Still ahead tonight, community members in San Antonio showing support for a little boy who lost both his parents to COVID-19.
He says he wishes he had him back, as being adults, because right now he understands that they're angels now and they're protecting us and watching over us.
A look at the touching celebration coming up.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Tonight's Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. Good evening, everyone. I'm meteorologist Kim Walker with your weather update. Of course, we did have blustery conditions today, especially in the eastern counties, and there was a little bit of rain as well, but most of the rain is well to our east. For tonight, we are expecting some precipitation to move right over our area around 2 o'clock in the morning, a few isolated showers, and then the purple and the blue that's showing up, that's a wintry mix that will slowly creep to the east. And so as it does so, we are going to increase our rain chances as a low pressure system starts to move to the northeast. Right now we are on the east side of it, the warmer side of the system. So we did see a little bit of rain. Highs today were mainly in the 50s, so it was a little bit closer to normal, but by tomorrow it is going to be blustery and it's going to be much colder on the backside of this low, and we are expecting some snow out of it as well. So here's a look at your temperatures. There could be occasional snow throughout the day. Overall, it looks like temperatures don't change all that much from 5 o'clock in the morning through the afternoon. In fact, we're going to stay around that 40-degree mark and then drop down into the 30s by the mid-afternoon. And that cold front comes in. The drier air moves in as well, and so our dew points will drop down into the 20s. Again, we do have the possibility of a few snow showers throughout the day. So around 8 o'clock in the morning, notice some of the blue that's showing up. Those are flurries and possibly even some snow showers. Most of it will stay to our west. I think we may have some periods where we're not going to see any precipitation, but then around 6 o'clock in the evening, more snow will be possible. That will start to migrate to the east at around 6 o'clock in the evening. Again, we do have the possibility of more snow on your Wednesday, and then moving into late Thursday into late Wednesday into early Thursday, we are expecting a little bit drier conditions, and then we should see a little bit more sunshine on Thursday when that low finally moves away from our area. Temperatures tonight diving down to around 39 degrees in Corning, 40 degrees in Elmira. Tomorrow, look for highs around 43 degrees in Corning. We are expecting a few snow showers. That will continue into your Wednesday. However, it's going to be a little bit colder for the middle of the week. We start off around 32 degrees. Our high will only be around 40 on Wednesday. We warm up to the upper 40s by the end of the week. And then we have another system that will come in. It will drag a cold front through our area. And so as a result, by the end of the weekend, colder air moves in. And so on Sunday and Monday, it looks like we won't get out of the 30s. And it's going to be a dreary day with the possibility of some rain and snow mix as well. That's a look at your 7-day planner. We'll be right back.
The crisp winter air makes it tempting to just snuggle up with a blanket and binge watch Netflix. But even this time of year, it's important to stay active. While being around crowds is discouraged right now, Mandy Gaither has a list of safe and fun things to do this winter in today's Health Minute.
Traveling, dining out, and holiday parties might not be the best idea this year as the world grapples with the coronavirus pandemic. But there are still plenty of fun ways you and your family can enjoy this winter season. Get your holiday baking on. Instead of just watching the Great British Baking Show, have a mini one of your own. Whip up the classic flavors of the holidays or recreate old family favorites. Start crafting. Maybe you spent the longer hours at home this spring and summer working on projects in your yard. So now is a great time to turn your attention to crafts or updates you wanted to work on inside your house. Send care packages. Put some of that baking and crafting to good use. Put together care packages for loved ones you can't get together with this year and for charities helping those in need. Participate in individual outdoor sports. Skiing, snowboarding, snowshoeing are all great ways to get outside and get your heart rate up. Plus, you can still practice social distancing. Finally, have a holiday movie marathon at home. There's no shortage of festive films and shows on cable and streaming platforms, so grab some hot chocolate and see how many you can tick off your list.
Community members in San Antonio are showing support for a little boy who lost both his parents to COVID-19. Raiden Gonzalez turned 5 years old on Saturday. Morgan Burrell reports a parade of people came out to help him celebrate.
It's a party only a young 5-year-old could dream up.
And I wanted to have it into a maze.
A day filled with birthday cake.
Words can't explain what I'm feeling right now.
Santa and Mrs. Claus and dinosaurs.
The community coming together a little bit is just such a big deal through these times. Show unity more than anything.
The massive car parade lasted nearly an hour. All of it for Raiden Gonzalez.
There's other people that are coming, from other cities.
The young boy's family has been torn apart by COVID-19. His parents, Adan and Mariah, gone after losing their battles to the virus just months apart.
He says he wishes he had him back, as being adults, because right now he understands that they're angels now and they're protecting us and watching over us.
Raiden's grandmother, Rosie, says as his parents watch from above, she's overwhelmed by the swell of support shown by the community today.
He's received, so much, and, it's amazing how, it's like I tell him, all these people are doing this for you.
And little Raiden is grateful for everyone who came by today, too. To those who stopped by to show him love, he says,
"Thank you."
It's Cyber Monday, and the COVID-19 pandemic isn't keeping people from shopping in big numbers. So if you're shopping online today, you'll want to hear this. One expert is sharing the 5 things you should wait until next year to purchase. Here's Meredith Wood.
Before you click buy, take a second look at your virtual shopping cart. Here are 5 things one expert says you should wait to buy next year to save the most. Number 1, mattresses. Nationally syndicated Tech Life columnist Jennifer Jolly says prices will be better next year.
Historically, the deepest discounts arrive in February. So unless your mattress is completely destroyed and keeping you up at night, wait it out.
Number 2, bedding and linens to go with that new mattress. That's because department stores usually have their annual sales in January and February. Number 3, outdoor gear. Many retailers have their biggest sales in May and September.
So you'll have a wider array of discounted gear to choose from if you just hold off a couple more months.
Number 4, jewelry and diamonds. She says November through February tends to be a popular time of year for couples to seal the deal, creating a high demand for rings, which leads to higher prices.
The holidays are a super hot time to get engaged. Yes, even during a pandemic. So the biggest sales happen, like the biggest, deepest discounts on diamonds, diamond rings, engagement rings, and really all kinds of jewelry happen in March.
And number 5, cars. You'll likely find a better deal after Christmas during end-of-year sales.
The car dealerships need you more than you need them. They need to get rid of all the 2020 models to really start selling the 2021 models. So there'll be deeper discounts. throughout the end of December into January.
For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Meredith Wood.
With all the shopping going on, who deserves a gift this year more than our four-legged friends? Santa can't possibly forget all the dogs and cats who have kept us in such good company in 2020 while we are sheltering in place. A new poll says half of Americans are putting their pets on their gift lists, planning to spend an average of $137 on their furry friends. Dogs are expected to fetch more than cats are, according to the new National Confidence Poll by SunTrust Bank. But pet experts say the best gift you can give your furry friend this holiday season is just more time with you. An 11-year-old girl in Kentucky was surprised by friends outside the hospital just before she went into surgery. Lauren Adams reports.
Friday morning, a children's hospital room in downtown Louisville. A young patient looks confused, then breaks into a smile when she realizes what's happening just outside her window.
Ian! We love you, Ryan!
Just 30 minutes ahead of her latest surgery, friends of Ryan Neighbors, who was born with spina bifida, crowded onto the 9th floor of the parking garage at Norton Children's Hospital. The best they could do amid COVID-19 restrictions to wish her well.
It doesn't take a lot. And what did we give today? We gave time. We all have time.
Dee Dee Cox, a previous WLKY Bell Award winner who was honored for her work granting dreams for chronically ill children like Ryan, knew if the little girl, who she has helped coach in pageants, could see them and hear them, those few minutes could be enough to lift the little girl's spirits.
And while she's just 11 years old, Friday was to be Ryan's 48th surgery. It also marked the first time many of these friends wouldn't be lining the hallways of the hospital to wish her well. That's why they came up with this plan just a few days ago.
Before she goes into surgery, she gets to see us and know that there's people behind her who need her to get well, who want her to get well, to get back out of there and to get back on the stage and be Ryan again.
And with the fierce determination of this little pageant queen, friends say the next time they'll be cheering Ryan on won't be from a parking garage, but a crowded auditorium.
It will be okay. It has to.
We want to leave you with a smile tonight. The White House is ready for Christmas. First Lady Melania Trump is showing off her holiday theme this year. The First Lady went with a traditional style of decor, lots of trees with white lights and red ornaments. There's a close-up shot of a village hospital. That's a tribute to frontline workers amid the pandemic. The First Lady received the official White House Christmas tree last week. It's an 18-foot Fraser fir for the Blue Room. About 125 volunteers helped her decorate over the weekend, which is less than in years past due to the pandemic. From our whole team, thank you for joining us. We hope you have a great night.